Hi there, you're in the lab with your mate JJ. Today is Maker Advent Calendar Day. We're going to keep on working through our Maker Advent Calendar. So the job title for today is Current Conjurer. Today I'm the Current Conjurer. We're just past halfway through our Maker Advent Calendar. This is from the Pie Hut. There's a link in the show notes. Today we're up to project number 7. So I don't know what we're in store for, but let's pop over to the bench together and find out. Here we are on the bench. This is our kit. Today we're up to project number 7. So let's see what's in the box. Can't tell what it is yet. Well, whatever it is, it comes with some male jumpers, like three double-ended male jumpers. That looks like a passive infrared detector to me. Good old PIR, passive infrared. What have we got? Yep, that looks like a motion sensor. Cool. So, well, now we know what we're in store for. Can you see that? I suppose I could zoom you right in. Can you see that? That's a passive infrared device. I might even be able to just show you on the microscope there. What have we got? Where is he? There. So it's just the old passive infrared. These things used to be quite a bit bigger, but they didn't need to be so big, I guess. Does it say anything on the back about them? U1DZ161C1. Couple of passives there on the back. All right. Well, let's jump over to the computer together and read the instructions. All right, so here we are on the computer, and this is our 12 days of Codemas, and we're up to day number 7. Okay, so monitoring motion. Okay. Welcome to day 7 of your 12 projects of Codemas Advent Calendar. Today we're going to be using a sensor that detects motion, allowing our Pico to react to things like people and animals when they are near our project. This is a digital sensor, giving us a high signal if movement is detected. We can code this in a similar way to the buttons from day 3 as a trigger for our program. Well, let's go. Okay, box 7 contents. In this box, you will find 1 mini PIR sensor and 3 male-to-male jumper wires. Today's project. The sensor in your kit is a PIR sensor, which stands for passive infrared. PIR sensors detect movement via the heat energy, infrared radiation, given off by humans or animals. It won't work on snowmen. These sensors are commonly used in home alarm systems. If your home has an alarm, have a look in the corners of the ceilings and you may see something similar. Today we're going to be setting up our motion sensor, then testing it by moving our bodies. Then, similar to some of the previous boxes, we'll combine this with other components to create fun little projects, including our own little alarm system with a new function to learn. Construct the circuit. You know how this starts. Unplug your Pico from the USB port on your computer. I seem to forget to do that every time. Now remove the light sensor parts from yesterday. Okay. leaving the LEDs and buzzer in place with the Pico on the main breadboard. Your circuit should look like this to start with. Now add your motion sensor. Just to note, the diagrams below also use a generic motion sensor part from Fritzing, as there is currently no part for the mini version in your box. The wiring is the same. Please hold the sensor at the edges of the green PCB when fitting it, as it is a delicate component. Okay. Important: sensor orientation. The orientation of the PIR pins is very important. Please see the image below with the orientation of the angle pins showing you which side is 3.3 volt and which is ground. The middle pin is for our GPIO pin. Okay. Now fit your PIR to the top of the mini breadboard in the orientation shown in the image above, with 3.3 volt pin to the left, as shown below. Now connect the 3 pins to your circuit using the jumper wires. Connect left to 3.3 volts, physical pin 36, right to the blue ground lane, and the middle to the GPIO 26, physical pin 31. Alright, so I'm just going to jump over the bench and we'll do this wiring. Alright, so here's our stuff from the other day. We're going to need this back, so I'll just unplug that. Alright. Now, what did I do with the thing? Here it is. Now, so the left pin goes to 3.3 volts, which is pin 36. We've got a red one? We do. 36. 33, 34. Oh, I see. I've still got these bits and pieces in here from the other day. Take those out. So to take those out. Now, which one was ground? Ground. Connect the right pin to the blue ground lane. Okay. There's ground. And pin 36 is 3.3 volts. And then the middle pin goes to physical pin 31. Okay. Well, hopefully we got that all wired in correctly. Guess we'll find out soon enough. So, back over to the instructions. Alright, so the circuit should look like this. I believe it does. Activity 1, basic motion sensing. Let's get this sensor up and running with a minimal starter program. The code example below uses things we've covered in previous boxes, so you should be quite comfortable with how it works. The code. As always, we add our imports, then set up the GPIO pin for the sensor. We're using a pull down here to ensure the sensor is low unless triggered, because we don't want that floating, that pin floating when between the two, as we covered in day 3. Something different you'll spot next is where we wait for the sensor to settle or warm up before jumping into our while loop warm-up. This is a good practice with PIR sensors, especially if you have a project designed to run as soon as the microcontroller turns on. It gives the sensor a chance to baseline its surroundings before trying to detect changes. Some more advanced sensors even perform initial self-testing, which can take a minute or two. We allow 10 seconds, which seems to be enough for this sensor. Pardon me. Next, we use a while loop to check for a high signal on the PIR sensor, which then prints I see you, waits 5 seconds, then continues the loop again. Copy it over to Thonny and give it a whirl. We find that if you sit perfectly still, then wave your hands around, you should be able to test the program without having to leave the room. Alright, so let's jump over to Thonny. Now, I haven't plugged it in. I have to plug it in. Let's just do that quickly. Alright, I plugged it in, so it should be online now. And this is day 7. File, save as. Okay, this is activity 1 on day 7. Alright. And I think that's, let's see. Oh, we can't. Alright. So let's press run. Okay, it's warming up. And the sensor is ready. Now if I move around, is it going to see me? Hasn't seen me yet. Hasn't seen me yet. What if I move my hand over here? There we go. Okay. So it saw me when I moved my hand over the top of it. Let's do it one more time, huh? There he goes. He got me again. Alright. I remember when I was a kid, we used to try and fake out the movement sensors by walking very slowly down the corridor and sort of thing. It was surprisingly sensitive. You couldn't fake it. Okay, so that's the code for activity 1, and that's all well and good. So activity 2, motion alarm. This is a great project for motion sensors, especially if you have a pesky sibling who keeps borrowing things from your room. We can use our PIR sensor to trigger our buzzer and LEDs, making our unwelcome guests jump and hopefully scare them off. The code. Okay, the example below adds our LED and buzzer back in. So we define those pins again to be used. We also don't want you forgetting how to make functions, which we covered on day 5 with the buzzer. So you'll notice that we've made a function called alarm, which we call whenever we want to trigger the LED and buzzer. A function wasn't strictly necessary here, but it's good practice. The function makes our LEDs and buzzer sound/light exactly 5 times, but we're not using a counter this time. Instead, we're going to introduce the range function. Cool. The range function. The range function is really handy when you want to repeat something a certain number of times. Let's say we want to print not another function 20 times. Well, we could add 20 lines of print or even run a counter adding 1 each time. But another nicer/shorter way to do it is using range. And this is how it would look. For I in range 20, print not another function. Don't get hung up on don't get hung up on why the I is an I. Change it to a T or a V and see what happens. It's the same outcome. Traditionally, I has always been used, so most programmers stick with that. Consider that the I means iteration or index, and it starts to make more sense. For every iteration within the range of 20, makes sense? Okay. We didn't introduce this earlier when we used counters instead, as we think the range function can be a little more intimidating to new coders. You can also add values within the brackets to set the range/steps, but we will stick to the simplest usage for now. We turn the buzzer volume up before the range function, and we turn it back down afterwards. Notice the placement and indentation of these lines, keeping them outside of the range function. Right. We also have a line at the start of our program to make sure the buzzer is always off before we begin. Okay. Now that we understand what range does, copy the code below over to Thonny, run it, and sit very still or leave the room for 20 seconds. When you come back in, you should set off the alarm. Alright, so let's copy that code and we'll put it over here. And let's file save as, or save to this computer. And this is the second activity on day 7. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Alright, so let's have a quick look at the code, huh? So we set up our pins, very good. Buzzer, very good. Okay, we turn the volume on the buzzer all the way down. We set up the passive infrared as an input pin and with a pull down resistor. And then we warm up / settle the PIR sensor. So we let the PIR just flap around for a bit, and after 10 seconds we're ready. And then we define a function called alarm. We turn the buzzer volume up to 10,000. And then for I in range 5, so run this 5 times, the buzzer frequency is 5,000. And okay, so high pitch and all the lights are on, and then low pitch and all the lights are off. And then at the very end, we turn the buzzer back down to 0. Okay. And then while true, if the PIR value equals 1, then print ICU alarm and then return the sensor to active state. Great. All right, let's run this. Now it's warming up. It's going to take 10 seconds to warm up. All right, here it comes. Sensor ready. Okay, now if we move, we should set off the alarm. So, oh, there it goes. I don't know if you can see the lights at the back are flashing as well. So the lights flash and the alarm beeps. I think we got spotted. Cool. So, that's it. We're done. So just the 2 activities today. Yep. Haven't missed anything there. Day 7 complete. That last activity included a lot of details, so we're going to leave it there for today and not overload your fresh coder brains. The PIR sensor can be so much fun to use, and they come in all different shapes and sizes too. You'll be making your own home security system in no time. So what did we cover on day 7? Today you have built a circuit with a passive infrared sensor, learn how to use a PIR sensor with MicroPython and the Pico, created a mini alarm system, learnt about the range function, and revisited functions. As always, keep your circuit safe somewhere until tomorrow. Don't take anything apart just yet, and we'll see you after breakfast. Wonderful. So I'll throw the farewell cam, we'll wrap up. That's a wrap. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. The passive infrared detector worked like it did on the box. I have to say I was a little bit surprised to see that the PIR is a digital sensor. I would have thought it'd be like an analog sensor and show you degrees of movement or something, but not so. It's just an on and an off sort of a thing. So that was interesting. And what else did we? Oh, we learned about the range function. So that's pretty handy. And we used functions again. We wrote the alarm function for alternating the tone from high to low and flashing the LEDs from on to off, just making a racket and blowing up when we detect movement. So yeah, that was good fun stuff. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks very much for watching, and please remember to hit like and subscribe.